Good day, everyone. So today I will be discussing about Siltuximab, brand name Sylvant. This is one of the drug for lymphatic system. So let us understand what is it all about. So Sylvant Siltuximab is available in the market as lyophilized powder for injection. So pharmacologic class, interleukin-6 inhibitor, anti-neoplastic agent, monoclonal antibody. Therapeutic indication, it is indicated for multicentric Castleman disease in patients who are negative for HIV and human herpes virus 8. Mechanism of action, chimeric monoclonal antibody, which binds with high affinity and specificity to interleukin-6, prevents interleukin-6 from binding to both soluble and membrane-bound interleukin-6 receptors. So Castleman's disease, on the left side, you can see the signs and symptoms. And on the right side, you can see the picture of the Castleman's disease. So let us understand what is Castleman's disease. Castleman's disease is a rare disorder that involves an overgrowth of cells in the body's lymph nodes. So the most common form of disorder affects a single lymph nodes, and that is called unicentric Castleman disease, usually in chest or abdomen. But with the case of Siltuximab, as a form of treatment, it is indicated for multicentric Castleman's disease. Multicentric Castleman disease affects multiple lymph node throughout the body and has been associated with human herpes virus type 8 and human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. So at the right side, you can see a picture of a Castleman's disease. So here, this picture is a Castleman's disease lymph nodes. Most doctors look at this as infected lymph nodes and often diagnose as Hodgkin's lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, rheumatic arthritis, even lupus, but they mislook another type of disease, and that is your Castleman's disease. Castleman's disease is easily misdiagnosed. That is why this leads to increased mortality rate. So it is not enough known to Castleman's disease due to the lack of research. So Castleman's disease is somewhat like ALS. So we heard about ALS because of the ice bucket challenge. So little did we know Castleman's disease is more common than this ALS. It is deadly because it is poorly understood since it has symptoms like HIV positive patient, but further tests Castleman's disease are those who are negative to HIV and HHV8. So it is extremely complex. I'm gonna show you a video about this Castleman's disease.
When I was 25 years old, I was a healthy third-year medical student, driven to a career fighting the cancer that had killed my mom. I had big plans. When suddenly I became seriously ill. I spent several months in the ICU with multiple organ system failure, getting my tail beat by a mysterious illness. I even received my last rites, recovered, relapsed, and then pulled through again. I nearly lost my life to Castleman disease, a disease that few people have ever even heard of, a disease that has no cure and is so deadly because too little research has been done. I returned to medical school on a mission to change that, and to honor my mom in a way that I knew would make her proud. I promised my wife and sisters that I would dedicate my life, however long that may be, to trying to cure this disease for myself and for others. But I knew I couldn't do it alone, so I started the Castleman Disease Collaborative Network, a global initiative of physicians, researchers, patients, and loved ones teaming up to knock out Castleman disease.
There are thousands of people courageously battling Castleman's disease, just like Dave.
I was diagnosed when I found a large lymph node swollen in my neck. My internist, my ENT, My doctor had no idea what Castleman's disease was.
My son, Christopher, was having issues with his stomach. The doctor just kept telling us to treat it as a virus, and we knew something wasn't right. And after his biopsy of his lymph node, they concluded it was Castleman's. And then through research online, I came upon the CDCN, and we met David Fagenbaum. The doctors came up with a plan, and we are doing good now.
I think that many Castleman patients would agree that most doctors are not aware of this, and many people are not aware of this. Very odd symptoms, and everyone seems to be different. Having gone through this process for 4 years at a stalemate, and without being connected with Dr. Fagenbaum and CDCN, I would have never been put in touch with the right people to make the right tests, the right diagnosis.
I was diagnosed after 4 weeks of being sick. It started with what I thought was a flu, and they did the lymph node biopsy, which conclusively diagnosed me with Castleman's disease. With Dr. Fagenbaum's advice and help from the CDCN, we'll begin a maintenance program because it looks like I'm going into remission.
Castleman's disease is as common as ALS. There are 3 major subtypes, 2 of which are more deadly than lymphoma. It's very challenging. Patients often are misdiagnosed initially with other diseases. In Castleman's disease, the immune system attacks the body's vital organs in a very relentless fashion, shutting them down.
Castleman's disease is a deadly disease, and there is hope. We are making significant progress in developing diagnostic criteria, doing research to identify genetic mutations, and also, more importantly, building clinical networks. In fact, we built a remarkable network which completely changed our understanding of Castleman's disease. But more studies are needed.
Though I've had multiple life-threatening relapses, I'm currently in my longest remission ever, thanks to a drug that had never been used for Castleman's before, which I identified myself through CDCN research.
We invite you to join our network of Castleman warriors
And answer our challenge to raise money to help fund important research that will save lives, like Dave's and mine.
Or if you are a patient, consider giving blood or tissue samples.
It's a simple process.
And patients' lives depend on it.
Visit cdcn.org to learn more about Castleman disease and how you can help move the needle.
Simply, Castleman disease is the most deadly, most common disease that you've never heard of. But together, we can turn promising research into permanent cures.
So dosage information for this Siltuximab, Sylvant. So for Castleman's disease, 11 milligram per kilograms once every 3 weeks until treatment failure. For initial disease control, adjunctive corticosteroids may also be administered 4 to 8 weeks, followed by a corticosteroid taper. Patients who are symptomatic may require higher initial doses of adjunctive corticosteroids and a more gradual taper. So, adjunction with corticosteroids, it's because we know already that corticosteroids are drugs that weaken the immune system. So they are useful in treating people with certain immune system diseases, such as this, Castleman's disease, and cancer that develop from the immune system cells. We also have here severe disease in critically ill patient, 11 milligram per kilograms once weekly for 1 month, so followed by 11 milligram per kilogram once every 3 weeks until treatment failure. For initial disease control, also administer adjunctive high-dose corticosteroids followed by a slow corticosteroids taper. So dosing adjustment for toxicity. For hematologic toxicity, so mag-adjust tayo sa kanyang dosing. And we have here also for anaphylaxis, cytokine release syndromes, and or severe infusion related to allergic reactions. So discontinue permanently. For infection that is severe, withhold treatment until infection resolves. So advanced improvement applied for this Siltuximab. Actually, no advanced improvement applied since the available dosage form in the market is only lyophilized powder for reconstitution and be delivered through IV infusion. So, but Siltuximab is currently under investigation for use in the treatment of COVID-19 associated pulmonary complication with elevated interleukin-6 levels. The use of siltuximab for COVID-19 is only as part of a clinical trial. Siltuximab also used as an adjunct to antipsychotic medication in stable outpatient with schizophrenia. So comparison of the same class of drug. We have here your tocilizumab and siltuximab. Actually, they are both interleukin-6 inhibitor, but tocilizumab is the treatment of choice for rheumatoid arthritis, while siltuximab is the only treatment for Castleman's disease. Tocilizumab is available injectable solution, but with siltuximab, we have a dosage form, lyophilized powder for injection. They are both clinical study for treatment of COVID-19 associated with pulmonary complication. Actually, they are already in phase 3 clinical trial. So mechanism of action for tocilizumab. Tocilizumab binds soluble and membrane-bound interleukin-6 receptors, preventing interleukin-6 mediated inflammation, while siltuximab complexes with human interleukin-6 and prevents binding to soluble and membrane-bound interleukin-6 receptor, thereby inhibiting the proliferation of lymphocytes. So, why did they say that this is a treatment for COVID-19? Since December 2019, a novel coronavirus pneumonia, which is this COVID-19, has broken out in Wuhan, China, and spread rapidly. Recent studies have found that approximately 15.7% of patients develop severe pneumonia, and cytokine storm is an important factor leading to rapid disease progression. Currently, there are no specific drugs for COVID-19 and the cytokine storm it causes. So interleukin-6 is one of the key cytokines involved in infection-induced cytokine storm. So this tocilizumab and siltuximab, which are interleukin-6 receptor antagonists, has been approved by the US FDA for the treatment of cytokine release syndrome or CRS, expected to treat cytokine storm caused by COVID-19 and now in clinical trials. So phase 3 clinical trial na po siya. As a conclusion, so tocilizumab and siltuximab both are monoclonal bodies, but they take action on different diseases. So siltuximab is the only treatment for multicentric Castleman's disease, while tocilizumab is the treatment of choice for rheumatoid arthritis. So both act as an investigational drug for the treatment of COVID-19 and found out that they both reduce the serious respiratory complications. So these are my references for this siltuximab silvan, a drug for lymphatic system. Thank you for listening. God bless.